Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network as today we continue to dive in to DraftKings strategies. All right, guys, we should have plenty of time to discuss all the news. So let's dive right into a draft. And as we wait for it to fill up, we'll go over the latest things that happened. We're going for NFL Best Ball, $15 million millionaire, 1.5 to first, to $20 entry. Boy, I don't think this one's going to fail, guys. It's only at 470,000 of 882,000. So that's an advantage for overlay. All right, let's see how it goes. Guys, leave some comments in the chat. As usual, I am reliant on you. I might need to refresh this. Let's see how many people have done it since I've refreshed, actually. But I'm going to be relying on you for some talking points here. So now after a refresh, no, still at the same point. It's 470 out of 880. There's no way this thing fills. That's a nice little edge there as well. I wonder what they'll do next year. Okay. So, yeah, only 470,000. That's crazy that they were going to get close to 1 million entries. All right, guys, if you want in 11 to 12, so dive in right now. Hopefully I'm here with you. Yeah, it's going to be some huge overlay, huh, Steve? Please continue to drop some comments in the chat. Give me some things to talk about. But as we wait for this to fill, and it looks like it's already full, let's talk about some of the latest news. Tyrone Tracy, non-contact injury. That's not good. And when I did the show with Andrew last week, we talked about, he was really making it. All right, Noel fans in with me. He was making a great case for Tracy, and I felt like I had been underexposed. I feel a little bit lucky there because I was actually going to add to him now. We'll be off him altogether. JJ McCarthy also getting surgery today. Man, rough news for the Vikings fans. And I talked to Meg yesterday, and we were just figuring out the schedule for our betting shows that will be upcoming. So I checked those out. I believe the first one will be next Wednesday. And rather than doing an overall preview, we're just going to give out some of our favorite season-long bets for each conference. I figure you have a pretty good idea if you've been watching these shows of how we feel about these teams. But she was talking about how one of the few handcuffs at quarterback she does is the McCarthy Darnold. I wonder how this is going to affect that news. But now almost certainly Sam Darnold will be the starter for week 1. So we'll be continuing to monitor that news. But boy, bad news for Vikings fans because first of all, I thought all the rookie quarterbacks looked pretty good. This evening or this weekend. I thought one of my big takeaways was, hey, I need more Caleb Williams. His ability to move on the run and complete those throws, I think, is going to be something important going forward. So I'm a little higher on the rookies. And, boy, late-round Bo Nix just seems like a steal. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions in college, and I think that's going to be so important when we talk about Caleb Williams. One of our concerns was he did throw a lot of interceptions in college. Now, I know that Nix doesn't have the stats, and he doesn't have that eye-popping tape that Caleb Williams has. But when you're looking for a guy to consistent run, especially as a rookie, limiting turnovers is going to be key. And if he's able to do that, it's going to be big for him. So I'm in pick 10. All right, we'll see how this goes. I see my guy Noel fan there at pick 5. Glad to have you drafted with me. No other names that I know. Another run here, though, with back for Gators. All right, if you're watching, go ahead. Boy, a lot of Florida fans in here today. Gator Stack's name in here, too. At pick 10, I'm usually going double wide receiver to start. We'll see how it goes, though. If either of the running backs drop, I am happy to take them. Let's see how far Jahmyr Gibbs falls. I know he had a little injury in camp as well. I don't think that Gibbs' injury is something to be concerned about. However, on some of these things where we know the ADP is going to fall, we just react with the market. Because why would I overdraft Gibbs when this is a great opportunity to get a little ADP/COV value with him? So we're probably going to double tap wide receiver here for the start here at pick 10 through 14. And that's why I like doing these shows, by myself. Of course, when we talk with the chat and discuss the things that you guys want to discuss, but you kind of get an insight into just my thinking of how we're drafting and how we approach the different strategies based on position. And so as Bijan and Brees have both gone, so I guess Gibbs at 15 would be someone to consider. So Puka Nacua is on the board for me. Of course, he had an injury cap as well. I'm not too concerned about it. I think he'll be fine for week 1. A.J. Brown is fun. Garrett Wilson's fun. Harrison's cool. But I'm going to go with Puka Nacua right here. Jahmyr Gibbs went off the board, so the idea of me getting him as a faller, I could. I could have taken A.J. Brown as well, and it looks like Saquon Barkley is going to be available there at 14. But I've just done that so many times. I didn't feel like doing it again today for a draft. So with Nacua, start, of course, right? Stafford is going to be one of our targets. Stafford on the DraftKings format, to me, I want him to be my second QB. All right, let's take a look at this board. I could grab Saquon still. I mean, I have no problem getting him. I just didn't want to go full on Philly stack. Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, we talked about him for. Ayuk potentially on the move. Now let's go a little different here. I'm going to go Nico Collins here. Just to get a little different. Now, if this had been one of my first drafts of the season, I would have gone Devontae Adams because I think his target share is going to be so much higher than everyone else in this range. Like, for example, look at his target competition compared to that of Nico Collins. However, if you've been with us all summer and you've been drafting all summer, now's the time that we go ahead and even our exposures. And I've talked about it on these drafts before. When I get in these back slots, I kind of want to reach on that second round pick. And the idea is I want to kind of have a unique combination here when I'm looking at these players. So that's why I went ahead and reached for Nico Collins. And you know what? We're talking about evening our exposures here. I feel like I'm light on Stroud. So by taking this pick, it gives me an opportunity to maybe get a CJ investment. Earlier in the season, I was saying, hey, man, I think Stroud's a little high. Like, why is he being drafted so much higher than Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow? But is this, we saw it a little bit in preseason as I continue to just kind of do my studies, do my research, listen to other scouts. Feels like Stroud is actually where he should be. So I've been passing him over in favor of Burrow and Dak. I'm going to rectify that now, and I'll be looking to get a little CJ Stroud into my portfolio. Now, I'm not coming up in 12 picks. Saquon's still on the board. How is he falling so far? If I was drafting right now, I'd definitely take him. So let's see. I'm 11 picks away. We'll scroll down. Oh, I know I got to put the draft board up too. I'm sorry. I'll do that while I'm talking. But let's plan out our next pick. I don't think I want Diggs. Moore and Pittman are fine. I always love some Josh Allen. Travis Etienne is interesting. So we'll see where we're at the board here. Let's go ahead and I'll throw the draft board up overall here. Guys, glad to have you with me today. Reminder, this show's brought to you by Fanspeak.com. And your home for the Best Ball Summer 2024 articles, rankings, and of course the home of Ultimate GM, where you can start to look ahead to next year and see who your team could potentially be drafting. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Give me the thumbs up. Yeah, we're going to have some fun. Thumbs up. And of course, we're going to continue Best Ball Summer 2024. Okay, promo time's over. I'm 3 picks away. Let's check this board out. Who do we got? Kelsey. Always got to love Kelsey. I could bring it back with some Mahomes too, but he's gone. Laporta, I'm cool on Laporta. I don't want him here. Diggs, I don't want too much investment in that Houston, although I could take him. Pittman's always fun. Josh Allen's gone, right? Okay. I could do a Lamar Andrews here. Let's go heavy on quarterbacks today. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to reach for Mark Andrews, probably. Where's Mark Andrews? He didn't get taken already, did he? No, the only off the board. So most likely we'll reach for Mark Andrews here next, or I can grab some Zay Flowers. Andrews is pick 53. How much of a reach that would be? I'm at 39. I guess I could go more Zay Flowers. We'll go more Zay Flowers here. See if Andrews falls. All right. So let's see where I've started. I've got Lamar Jackson, Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers. I could be going heavy on quarterback because the CJ Stroud is around here on my next pick. I'll be looking at that. So ideally, right, I would get an Andrews or a CJ falling. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. Did Diggs go off the board yet? No, he did not. And I see the guy who drafted Tank Dell, who would probably be some of my CJ competition. Although on DraftKings, they don't correlate like they do underdogs, so predicting this isn't as safe. The fact that he has Josh Allen could help me, but I'm going to invest 2 high picks in quarterbacks, so we'll see how it goes. When you start to really dive in, okay, so this guy, Ray Spadoni, is probably going to be the guy that could snipe me on CJ, although he does have Kelsey. So therefore, he could be going for Mahomes too. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a chance for CJ here. Noel fans on the clock. Noel fans started with Jefferson and Cup. You got to like that, right? He's got 2 of the top players in fantasies over the past 4 years. And then Derrick Henry, always a stud. Love the start that you've got there for my guy, Noel fan. He's on the clock. Let's see where he goes with this very next pick. So as I've continued to do more studies, I'm more confident in my later round selections. As a result, I feel more comfortable. I think last time on this show, we did the double tight end build, or what's that called? Bully tight end, robust tight end, whatever it was. I took Laporta and who was the second one? Was it Laporta Kittle? Oh, man, I can't remember. Anyways, I took 2 high tight ends last game, last time I was out here. And because I feel like I know the players that I want in the back half of the drafts, rounds 11 through 20, I feel safer doing that because I feel comfortable with my teams. Today will be a little different. I'm probably going for the heavy tight end. The heavy quarterback build. It was Laporta and Kincaid. Thank you, Steve. How do you remember my team better than I do? Great work there by Steve. Appreciate you having here me today. James Cook just went, Alvin Kamara. So we see a guy, Jomo's really going against the grain here. We know that I've kind of preached, especially on this site with the full PPR format, that you should be a little more wide receiver thirsty. But there's nothing wrong with being a contrarian, and that's what Jomo's doing with 3 running backs overall. I am, besides Gator Stacks, and Crams, the only player I've yet to take a running back. Some of my 0 RB builds have been taking a hit. As we see Kendre Miller absolutely go down the board. So even if he ends up being okay, it's going to suck because I'll be competing with teams that are getting him in like the 180 range right now. When I drafted him a lot in the 140s and the 150s. All right, if CJ Stroud's on the board, I'm going to take him. Mark Andrews is gone, right? Yeah, Mark Andrews is gone. All right, look at this. What do we call this, Steve? Hero tight end? Hero QB or robust TD QB or bully QB. All right, I got Lamar and CJ Stroud before I have a tight end, before I have a flex, before I have a running back. This is an aggressive strategy, but this is what I'm trying to do at this time of the year. But boy, with Lamar and CJ, I'm pretty happy. However, as Andrew and I talked about on a different stream, they have the same bye week, and it's that week 14, the one that's going to be so crucial for advancing. So, I almost always do 3 QBs on DraftKings, but in this one, it's an absolute must. Absolute must here. So, I know I'm supposed to be showing you guys the draft board, but I got to choose my next player. Keenan Allen could be fun. Xavier Worthy, I like him. Hollywood Brown's going to drop because he's got that clavicle injury. Probably going to miss a little time. Aaron Jones, someone I'm pretty high on, but it's pretty obvious he's going to be in a timeshare. Yeah, double hero QB. And Steve, I'm just going to rack up the points, and I'm going to count on like a Bo Nix or a Daniel Jones to carry me in that week 14. Obviously, it's a gamble, but that is the strategy. At this point, I can make an argument for Xavier Worthy, but I have so much more exposure to him. We've talked about it before. When you're drafting all summer like we've been here on the Fanspeak team, now's the time that we're evening our exposures. And more exposure to Keenan Allen is never a bad thing. He was wide receiver 5 before he got injured last season. And watching Caleb and the way that he was able to move in the pocket. So I've had concerns about the Chicago Bears offensive line throughout this offseason because he's able to kind of move and extend plays a la Mahomes and the players that we like so much. I'm feeling more comfortable about loading up on these Bears wide receivers. Now, I don't pick again for 16 picks, so let's go ahead and put the draft board up. Once again, we've gone 0 running back on DraftKings, but I've told you this, guys, this is a full site PPR. And maybe I'm overdoing it, right? Because I've talked about how I'm moving my exposures through different contests. For example, a guy like Anthony Richardson, I've said, hey, that's my weekly winners, guys. And Steve, what's up, Jamie? Steve, I talked to Meg yesterday. I think we're pretty close in entries. And I didn't realize it was closed, but I ended up with 47 different weekly winners entries. I think you're pretty close to 50. I'm pretty happy about that. And I can't wait for the season to start because one great week and I can get paid right away. I'm not going to have to wait to sweat the end of the season. So weekly winners, fun format. Unfortunately, it's full. Maybe they'll throw up a little smaller one, but for those big prizes, that contest is full. And I think it shows you how much the underdog has taken over the minds of the hardcore best ballers. And maybe a reason why this DK contest has failed. Who knows? Maybe it will fill up. But the way it's looking now, man, it's not going to fill up, which means not only do I believe these draft rooms are softer, but with the overlay, we're getting even more of an edge. So, guys, even if you love underdog and you've been doing it all summer, I would say that you're really, you spend all this time researching these players. If you're watching this show, you're obviously pretty into best ball and fantasy football. Take advantage of this over here on DraftKings. Not only have I said all summer that I believe these draft rooms are a little softer than the underdog rooms, the fact that we're getting this overlay, head on over to DraftKings, guys. And I think that's going to be a great opportunity for all of us to be profitable as we enjoy this hobby that we call best ball. So I'm coming up soon. I still don't have a running back. We're seeing this is where the running back run usually starts. So I should be right in line. I also need a tight end. To me, tight end is the bigger priority right now. Tight end is going to be the bigger priority right now because I feel like I can get some running backs here later. Boy, it's going to end up with my guy, Brock Bowers, because I missed out on the ones that I really like. Jake Ferguson's a guy that I'm high on, though. We've really seen them lacking in target competition. And I know, right, we don't always, 60 weekly winners for Steve. And Steve, you and I don't always agree on all our player takes. And I know that one of them I think we disagree on is Jalen Tolbert. I'm just not too high on him overall. And we know that they're going to throw the ball, and we know these passes have to go somewhere, which means as a result, I am high on Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and of course Brandon Cooks, who I think is I think that's a Fanspeak consensus. I don't think there's anyone that's doing content for us over at Fanspeak that's not high on Brandon Cooks. So I'm going to be at pick 82, and Jake Ferguson's got about an 83 ADP. So we're going to fill in that tight end right now. I'm not going to correlate them because I've already spent so much draft capital on QB. I might even double click tight end though and go crazy. No, we're not going to grab Bowers next. We do need a running back. Let's look at this running back that are available. Ramondre, I don't know, man. I mean, are the Patriots going to be good at all? He's a tough one. Zach Moss could be. All right, we already know who's coming up next. Felix, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? To my guy, Felix Castro, as I queue up Najee Harris. Man, you know who's another one I like is Tony Pollard. I've been high on Spears all summer, but watching him, and this is one preseason game, and we don't want to overreact, but hey, I can't help it, man. I can't help it. I ran Darren Waller up the draft board last season after watching him dominate the worst secondary in shorts. So obviously, I am prone to overreaction here. Should I just take some Tony Pollard right now to even the exposure? No. All right, I took Najee. Felix, I hope you're happy. I probably should have taken Pollard there if we're evening out exposures, but you know what? I haven't taken him like the last 3 drafts, and I watched a lot of your content, Felix. Najee Harris it is. All right, let's go back to the draft board and let's continue discussing some of this. So my first running back comes here in round 8. Pretty happy with having Jake Ferguson there. Obviously I took a gamble here, but with Njoku and Bowers going off the board, I could have taken Bowers there, but I mean, I don't know. I'm happy getting Najee Harris. I need to at least get, some sort of running back potential here. So, I need one more running back to really fill in my starting lineup overall. Let's see how this thing continues to go as Ramondre goes off the board. One thing I think I have going for me, though, looking around, there's not a lot of other guys doing 0 RB. I think there is 2 other guys. No, only one other guy that only has 1 running back. So I shouldn't have competition going for these backups. I can continue to get my guy. See what Jamie has to say. Hold on. Where'd this go? All right. Jamie Pirog, thank you for joining us today. Jamie, if you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, fanspeak.com. I've only done 1 DraftKings, but over hundreds on Underdog. I noticed the ADPs are way different, getting tons of value on DraftKings. Yeah, I personally think it's a little bit easier too. Feels like Underdog reacts to the news more. I don't want to say cliquish, but I feel like a lot of people drafting on Underdog are all consuming the same content, myself included. I'm not trying to act like I'm like better than anyone else or different than anyone else. But you can kind of see the ADP values change as like ETR switches their rankings. The ADPs kind of like mirror that. Whereas DraftKings, it feels like there's more guys just out here drafting, winging it, and hashtag getting our guys. Jamie also says, I'm a Flournoy guy over Tolbert, but I love Cooks and Ferguson value. All right, well, we agree on there. Maybe I need to get some Flournoy. That's one of the fun things, especially on DraftKings. I think you really got to get creative with those round 19 and those round 20 picks. Steve says, I do like that group of backs on DK. Great value. Even in a bad offense, Stevenson can give solid value. Moss, potentially top offense. Harris is undervalued, and Pollard can really bounce back. I know we're not supposed to overreact to preseason too much, Steve, but Pollard, to me, was one of the guys that I raised the highest. Maybe a little bit slow coming off that knee injury last year. And although Spears is good and it's going to be a backfield by committee, I thought Pollard looked a little better than Spears. I know it's just one game. However, I think that he's got some great value there going forward. Jordan Love, is he still going to be on the board for me? And this guy's been listening to some coach speak because Chase Brown went ahead of Zach Moss. So, I didn't like Moss in the last round, but I'm probably targeting Moss or Pollard here. Because I went 0 RB, I cannot take all right, I'm going to get one of either Moss or Pollard. I'm going Pollard. I've been talking him up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chase Brown took over that backfield by the end of the season. However, that would have been a fine consolation prize. And hey, maybe he'll fall some more, right? As people listen to that Coach Speak Index, and I know that's a pretty, a pretty popular account, but it seems like Tony Pollard is the guy. All right, we're going to make my next pick here. Let's see who's on the board. And that's why, guys, I'm happy doing this kind of 0 RB start. I mean, if I get Harris, Pollard, and Moss as my QBs to go with Lamar, CJ, Puka, Nico, Zay Flowers, Keenan Allen, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this team. You see me on here, guys, boy, it's really going to be teased now. And he took Tyjae Spears. I got Zach Moss. All right, guys, I really like this team. I got Lamar Jackson and CJ Stroud, right? So you're saying spread. You went a little aggressive on quarterback. You could have overdrafted them a little bit, right? However, where was I down on? I mean, of course, I took a gamble on Jake Ferguson But I'm pretty happy with that gamble. I think he's going to be pretty good. I've talked earlier. I don't think there's a lot of target competition. He's clearly the number 2 or number 3 target. But I got Najee, Pollard, and Zach Moss, and I put all this draft capital into my wide receivers and my quarterbacks. This is turning out to be an absolutely great draft. One thing I want to point out, guys. All right, look at the screen right now. Isn't my cat so cute back there? Oh, she wanted to be on the show today. She's taking a little nap behind me. If you can't see it, but I'm circling my cat with the mouse right now. All right, back to the draft board. I just had to point out, though, little Dasha, how cute is she hanging out and drafting with me? Let's see. Oh, Jamie says, I met someone from Fanspeak at the expo and subscribed to the channel. That means you met our guy, Justin, right? And Jamie, I try and bring a lot of personality to the channel. I try and bring a lot of energy to the channel, but we got to be realistic. Jamie's probably a little funnier. Justin's a little funnier than me. Great shows here, and he'll be back with Andrew, I think, this week. Steve, I completely agree. He was my number one. So off the preseason weekend, and I know we don't overreact, Steve, but I moved Pollard up in my rankings, and I moved Caleb up in my rankings. I was already high on Jaden Daniels. If I had been out on Jaden Daniels, I would have moved him up too. And Bo Nix, I was already high on, right? So I had already been arguing with Tyler all summer, right? That I thought the Bo Nix is going to be pretty good. I felt kind of justified watching him. I think he's going to avoid turnovers. And I think that's going to be key. However, we talked about it on my last show, Steve. Remember when I asked you, hey, did I overstack? And you said no, because you took 2 top offenses, right? I don't want to overstack that Denver team because I still don't think they're going to be that good. But as my third QB in a build like this, I'm going to be pretty happy. Talk about Pollard a little bit more. Jamie says, we've seen Pollard put up top 10 numbers with 30 to 50% of the snaps. Great value. So I'm glad that you agree with me there. Jamie, are you drafting with us right now? I know it's kind of weird because when I got in, it was 11 to 12. But if you are, we'll go ahead and talk about your team. I'm 2 picks away. I'm feeling pretty solid about everything I've done here. I can take whoever. Oh, it's going to be Dalton Schultz if he's on the board. Wouldn't that be fun? 2 Dallas tight ends. Let's see if Dan O'Dan. Oh, he didn't take him. He took Cole Kmet. This team's turning out pretty good, guys. So I just correlated Dalton Schultz with CJ Stroud. I got Lamar Jackson, who's a player that I'm not as worried about correlation because I think he's going to have some great rushing upside here. But I did correlate him with Zay Flowers. Pretty happy. I pushed back running back, and I'm pretty happy with the 3 guys I got so far. I can go anywhere I want now. I can go for wide receiver or kind of shore up that running back position. Ezekiel Elliott just went off the board. He was someone I was considering. Jahan Dotson is someone that I like a lot. Gabe Davis, Zach Charbonnet. I don't need Freiermuth because I just took a second tight end. I don't have a lot of Jerry Jeudy. I probably should get some more of him. Hawkinson's going to continue to go up the board because it looks like he'll be back sooner than I expected. I thought it's going to be week 10. It might be week 8 now. We're going to draft Jahan Dotson here. Continue my exposure to him. Tough leaving Gabe Davis on the board. I'd like to know what you guys think. Gabe Davis, Jahan Dotson. Who do you think would have been the better pick there? I think it's pretty equal here. We'll continue to move this back to the board. See what everybody else is taking. But, guys, I'm feeling pretty confident here, man. I got my 2 tight ends. I got 2 quarterbacks. Now we're just filling in wide receivers and running backs. I'm pretty happy about where we are with this draft. Man, I was hungry today too. Remember, I always complain about being hungry because it's about right when I eat every day when I do this show. Even though I'm hungry, man, I think I'm making some good decisions here, and I'm happy about this team. All right. And Jamie, I was right. Well, I was the only guy from the Fans Expo, so it didn't take, I wasn't Sherlock Holmes to figure that out. But he does some great content here, and they'll be back Thursday night, I believe, at their regularly scheduled time. Him and Andrew have a great rapport. I tried to fill in for him last week, and I don't think that I filled his shoes adequately. So be happy to have Justin back here on the Fanspeak channel Thursday night. Guys, subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified when they go live with their unique content of banter and information. All right, let's see where these people are continuing to go. Yeah. See, these third quarterbacks are tough, and I think it's because we have the 20 rounds and not 18. 3 quarterbacks is almost a must in this build. So we're seeing these quarterbacks that would get pushed back way farther on underdog. They're already off the board. Now, I did reach a little bit with that CJ deal, but you could see like I would have had to spend a lot more capital anyways, because I think pretty much now all the best quarterbacks have been taken. The ones you want that are left on the board, they're definitely QB3s, right? Justin Fields continues to rise. Probably the most, I don't know, say polarizing, controversial player. I'm still high on Fields from a fantasy perspective. Like, if you're a Steelers fan, I don't think he's going to lead your team to the AFC Championship or anything. But from a fantasy perspective, I still expect him to be able to put up a lot of points. Really unique rushing upside. I mean, if we were just talking rushing as a quarterback, who's better than him besides Lamar Jackson? Richardson, maybe. So I'm pretty happy when it was pretty obvious that Russ was getting the job. I was getting a bunch of Fields late rounds. I'm pretty happy drafting early. A lot of the players that I've liked have gone up the board. We're talking about guys like Justin Fields, just flying up the draft board. Jaleel McLaughlin flying up the draft board. Brock Bowers hasn't. I don't get that, but guys continue to sleep on him. Dontavian Wicks is the last one, and I'm not the only one. Everybody loves Dontavian Wicks. There's a reason he's going up the draft board. Two players that I'm worried about that have fallen here are Kendre Miller, who I won't be drafting at 152, and Marshawn Lloyd, who also had some hamstring issues. Right now, I'm not high on Quentin Johnson. I'm not high on Leggett. I'm probably going to grab another running back. It's going to be Jalen Wright, but should I grab some Ricky Pearsall? I'm going to grab some Ricky Pearsall because I'd be happy with Jalen Wright or Ray Davis here. So both of them one of them should still be available when it comes back around. Now, it really seems like that IE trade is happening, and I have to apologize because, guys, I've been coming on these shows all summer and telling you that it's all smoke, no fire. Ayuk's not getting traded, and it looks like I'm going to have to take the L there. But that's what happens, right, when we're prognosticating, right? I mean, I'm taking L's on my betting picks before, too. Did Jalen Wright go off the board? Did they take both of them? Come on, mouse. Of course, my mouse freezes up. All right, Ray Davis it is. So I didn't get Jalen Wright, but that's fine. I got a number 2 of an elite offense who could potentially get a lot of red zone work. So pretty happy there with Ray Davis, and that's why I went ahead and reached a bit for Ricky Pearsall. But he's going to be a player that I think is going to go up the boards because if Ayuk does get traded, does that put him in the pretty clear number 2 receiver? I know he's going to be like the number 4 option because Kittle and McCaffrey are probably ahead of him as far as options. But you got to think he's going to get a lot of work. So I'm pretty happy to take some shots here on 2 high upside number 2 receivers in Jahan Dotson and Ricky Pearsall. Steve, another one we might have to take an L on. Benson not looking pretty good, huh, bro? Benson not looking pretty good. Maybe we'll take the L there, Steve, as he's another one I watched, and I said, you know what, maybe I want a little bit of exposure to him as well. And Steve, I'd love to hear your thoughts, man. You had to agree with some of my Bowers takes, seeing the way that the Raiders used him, right? They used him out of the backfield, and he just looks like he's going to be a matchup nightmare. I mean, you can't. Linebacker's too slow. Safety's too slow. Corner's too small. I think he's clearly going to be the number 2 option in that offense. I don't know. Jacoby Myers is pretty good, though. So we'll see how it goes. My team right now, 2-4-6-2. 2-4-6-2. I can go anywhere that I want. Cool. I'm glad that Steve is in on Bowers, and I'm glad you're not drafting with me a lot of times, Steve, because you know me. I've been high on Bowers all year. Jaleel McLaughlin, I'm still a little worried that I overdid that exposure. I thought Javonte Williams looked pretty good there in this preseason game. Jalen Tolbert in round 14. This guy in the 1 slot is going crazy. What were we talking about? Javonte Williams looking pretty good. But I'm so happy about that Bowers exposure. Talk about confirming your priors or whatever the right word would be. Confirming your bias. I don't know how it goes. All right. Steve says Sanat. I'll maybe take him in the 18th round on some Daniels builds, but still think he's splitting some time. Yeah, that could be the case, but I'm just saying I've seen him at 180 or 190 and passed on him, and I'm not going to anymore. Do I want him as my third tight end? Is it now that we're talking about him? If he's on the board, I'll probably take him. Burton's someone that I'm high on. Although, who's the other guy? Iovasi might be taking a slot. Burton scored a touchdown in the preseason game, but it was like a busted coverage. I don't really know how much it really showcased his talent. At least he was able to take advantage of it, though. I guess he showcased that. I also need a third quarterback. JJ McCarthy's going to fall. I could do like a Marvin Mims. Is Mims gone? That sucks. I think he's gone. Who took Mims? I like Mims more than Franklin. Where did Mims go? No, he didn't get drafted that high, did he? Is he still on the board? Oh, he's at 185. Wow. I like him better. All right. I'm going to grab my third tight end right now. I talked up Sanat. Let's grab him. All right. So we got some Ben Sanat there. And then I'm probably going to take Marvin Mims with my next pick and then hope to get Bo Nix after that. If not, I'll do a backstack with Daniel Jones. Or I'll do a Bryce Young, although he'd be kind of naked because I've already taken my third tight end. Mims is better than Franklin for sure. Yeah, I'm surprised that he's so much lower here. Who am I leaving on the board here? Roman Wilson is a tough one, man. But if Ayuk goes there, right? Okay, so we're reaching for Mims here. Well, I don't know. He's ranked 185. What's his ADP? 190. All right, a bit of a reach there. But, guys, I've got some good value so far. This is the time to hashtag get your guys. Josh Reynolds better than Franklin. Yeah, I think that's just that rookie hype, right? Just that the idea that like we know what Josh Reynolds is and Troy Franklin could be this breakout star. But I've been kind of staying away from Troy Franklin. In fact, if they didn't play together at Oregon, I think that he'd be a lot lower. I think people are kind of putting a little bit too much into that. Who did we do that with last year? Wasn't there a guy that Sam Howell played with, Steve? Like Diami Brown or something, and we were drafting them in tandem because we're like, oh, they have chemistry from North Carolina or wherever he went, and that didn't work out. I could be misremembering, though, if you want to help me out there. Guys, I appreciate everybody for watching. We got 45 watching live. Give us that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Give me some chat here. And let's continue to draft some winners. Yeah, do you remember that, Steve? So do you see what I'm saying? And obviously we need to be looking into every angle possible, but this idea that they have chemistry from college doesn't always work out because I know he's going to be starting now. Really over Dotson, or are they just going to go 3 wide every time? Is Dotson go a third stringer? Did I screw that Dotson pick up? Did Dotson go to the bench? How would he be starting? They're going to go 3 wide every time? Help me out here, Steve. I wasn't aware of all this. All right, man. I don't know. See, is that Jones and Bryce go off the board? I probably should have gone Nix, Mims, but boy, Nix in round 15 is rough. I'd really like to see him fall here. Okay, so our guy in the 1 spot finally took 2 picks that I like, Tyler Boyd and Jalen McMillan. Okay, Dotson will start. Okay, good. All right, you scared me there. Noel fan says he's moved to the slot. Okay, thanks, guys. You had me worried there, Steve. Luke McCaffrey goes off the board. Steve, I'd love to know your I mean, I kind of do know him, but throw him in the chat for the people who don't. Luke McCaffrey, man, I think he's got some interesting upside, right? Definitely got the good genetics. Yeah, likely 3 wide now under Kingsbury. All right. Sounds like a plan. Wow. Mason in round 17 here. Sam Darnold off the board before my guy Bo Nix. Love to see it. All right, I only need to get through 2 more guys to get Bo Nix. Let's go. Let's see. Don't snipe him. I doubt the guy right in front of me will take him. The Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love guy, I guess he could for his third. But he doesn't have any Broncos. Uh-oh. He's already at 3 QBs, though. But he does have Cortland Sutton, who's a player that I'm actually pretty high on. All right, we're going to try and grab Bo Nix next. Go ahead and queue him up. All right. I got Bo Nix. Guys, this draft is going well for me. I know it's a bit of a rate, or I guess it wasn't because he's ADP 200 and I got him at 202. Mouse, come back to me. Sorry, guys. I keep saying I got to redo my mouse, and I did not. Okay. At this point, if Troy Franklin's on the board, I just take him, though, right, Steve? Because I got Bo Nix. I guess his ADP is 211, even though it's ranked 164. But, I mean, I don't need another quarterback. I mean, I guess I could take another running back. But who are the running backs that I'm leaving? So Kendra Miller would be awesome. Elijah Mitchell. Yeah. I don't know. There's some fine running backs here that I can. I don't know. What do you think, Steve? Should I take a running back here or should I take Troy Franklin? Okay, he says we'll go for Reynolds instead. Okay, so here's what we'll do then. I'm high on Miller. It's pick 207. Maybe I'll grab Franklin if he comes back. Where's Reynolds here on my sheet? How far down is he? 244. Okay. Let's do that then. Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, can you believe Kendra Miller's fallen all the way to 207? Jamie says, I've noticed lately that the casual drafters are starting to appear and they don't understand the importance of stacking and correlations. I'll tell you what, Jamie, from my experience, it's kind of been like that on DraftKings all summer. And maybe it's just because, like I said, Underdog's so sharp. Underdog seems to be the home of the most serious players. And for that reason, I just think so. Troy Franklin's gone, so thank God we don't have to worry about that anymore. Sometimes when you're debating a player that you don't really like that's falling on the board, you almost get happy when he's drafted. But I've noticed that all summer here, and so once again, that's why I'm the guy on the DraftKings show, right? As the rest of our shows are done on Underdog, because I've continued to tout that I believe that this is giving you great value here. Now I know like Meg just likes the rules better on Underdog because it mirrors the FanDuel scoring rather than the DraftKings scoring. However, probably because I play more DraftKings too on my weekly DFS, I really like this format, and I do believe there's more value here, and that's why I'm here with you guys every Tuesday to kind of talk through some of these drafts. And I feel like today I did a great example of just ways to approach the draft, right? I think we called it bully QB, right, Steve? We did a bully QB, and normally, right, especially on Underdog, we'd be so afraid of using so much capital. Oh my God, Bo Nix is week 14. I'm an idiot. I have to go 4 QBs. Oh my God, I was just touting myself, saying I did such a great job. You got to be kidding me. What a mistake. How did I do that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, at least you guys can at least you guys can laugh at my misfortune. I time for Russ. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Russell Wilson it'll be. And I can't even afford to wait. Come on, mouse, come back. Why do I say every week that my mouse dies? And then I swear it's only on these shows, though. All right, let's look at these QB options. Russ, Drake May, McCarthy, or Minshew or O'Connell. Yeah, time for Russ. He's not week 14, is he? Where does it say they're buying? Oh, week 9. Okay, cool. All right. Steve Steve, is there anyone I can backstack Russ with, or is that just going to be naked? Can you imagine? I'm going into week 14 with no Russ. I mean, with no quarterback at all, or just Russell Wilson to carry my team. I better have a big lead in this pod. That week 14 is going to be brutal for me, guys. Unbelievable. I can't believe I targeted Denver. Steve, anyone I could backstack here with Russ? No way. Roman Wilson's still on the board. Well, that'll be a no-brainer, right? If Wilson gets picked, Steve, who do you think? Van Jefferson. Oh, my gosh. I had so much of him last year in the 160s. Complete bust. All right, here we go. All right. Let me look at my team overall. 4, 5, 8, 3. This is the first time I've drafted 4 quarterbacks all year, guys. Man, I've just been telling you guys how I was giving you guys the perfect example of DraftKings strategies. Well, now you've learned what to do and what not to do. Guys, check your bye weeks on your quarterbacks. Unfreaking believable. Man, I really like this team otherwise. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I probably should have gone with Dak as my second QB instead of CJ. All right, whatever. Okay, I have. Oh, I'm done. I'm not even drafting anymore. Okay. Wow, we're all done. All right. Well, we'll review my team right now, and then well, that's cool. I'm kind of hungry. And then I'll talk about Noel fans' team. So, like I said, I think this is a great team. I showed why on this site you can push running backs back, especially if you're like, look at this guy. Took 7 running backs, but he didn't start till round 8. I actually don't hate the strategy. I actually think he did pretty good. But remember early in the draft, we saw that a lot of these drafters were loading up on running back early, and that's fine because it's a nice contrarian stand. I'm not saying there's a right way to do it, but that made me feel more comfortable about pushing my running back because I knew that in those rounds 8, 9, 10, where I'm starting to load up, that they were going to leave some of these running backs on the board. Now, I also got some luck here as the players I was targeting. Other players overdrafted them for their correlation. So I felt that went well for me. Great point, Steve. 4 QB stacks is very interesting. I get to the playoffs. I have 4. I got to make sure I stay this time. Last time I left. Yeah. You know what? And at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. Steve, I guess my concern is just having rest in week 14. And let me look at the Steelers' schedule. But, I mean, if they're like outdoor against Baltimore or Cleveland in week 14, how upset am I going to be? All right. Week 14, why don't they put the week numbers on here? I got to count, huh? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Ha! Yeah, that's not good. Steve, the Steelers are traveling to play the Philadelphia Eagles in week 14. Home versus Chiefs? Did I do this wrong? No, that's week 17. Home versus Chiefs is week 17. No fan. I'm talking about week 14 when he's going to be the only quarterback in my lineup and going to be the week that could potentially decide the pod. All right. Let's check out Noel fans' team, though. One of the fun things we always do here is we talk about our friends' teams that draft with us. Week 17. It's fine. I could have a big lead, man. Hopefully you and I get out of this pod because I don't think our friend Jamie drafted with us, and I didn't see Steven here as well. So, Noel fan, I love to start Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. I mean, just 2 established guys. They've both been the top players in fantasy past 3 or 4 years. Derrick Henry. Another guy I absolutely love. He's one of those guys, he's the exception that proves the rule when it comes to aging running backs. Trey McBride, Terry McLaurin, another 2 guys I'm high on. I love your player takes. You match Kyler with McBride. Talked about it before. I think Kyler's a great fantasy player. My concern is, will he be healthy for those playoffs? So let's see who you backed him up with. Zamir White, man, great pick in round 7. A guy that as close to a bell cow rose we can have. The only reason that he's not going higher is we've never really seen it from him before. And I was looking into him. He's never even really had a lot of carries in college. So let's see if he's really built for this bell cow role, but not a lot of competition there with the washed Alexander Madison and a rookie Dylan Lobb as his backup. So, I mean, you could be getting a guy that's just tops in touches there in round 7. Curtis Samuel, good option there. You're getting him on one of the best offenses in the league in Buffalo. DeAndre Hopkins, you're able to buy the dip. Player that I'm pretty high on that has fallen because of a training camp injury. You took Javonte Williams, who could be my arch nemesis here, and you got Matt Stafford there in round 11. I talked about me targeting potentially Matt Stafford, but when I went with CJ with my second pick, he was kind of out of there, and you correlated Stafford and Kupp. Another great job by you. J.K. Dobbins worth the risk in round 12. T.J. Hawkinson worth the risk in round 13. Maybe a little bit early to start with these risks, but I can't really go against it, especially because your draft is so solid going into this. I mean, you had to be so happy with your team that you feel like you can take these risks. And if J.K. Dobbins doesn't get hurt, because we already know he's a damn good player, that's awesome. And T.J. Hawkinson could be in there helping you win this pod in week 14 when I'm worried about starting Russ against the Eagles. So great job there. Demarcus Robinson, someone I'm high on. Oh, he's another one that I drafted a lot of early that moved up the draft board. So I'm happy because I was getting him around 17, around 18, and now he's going in round 14. But agree with the player take, especially the correlation with Matt Stafford. Khalil Herbert, I'm not really high on him, but around 15, what's your opportunity cost really? DJ Shark, another one. I mean, if McConkey isn't what we think he is, Shark is going to be really good there. Sam Darnold, we talked about it before with the injury to McCarthy. For sure, your week 1 starter. And if Minnesota exceeds expectations, I think it's going to be hard for them to cede that role away from Sam Darnold. So you got a guy around 17 that could potentially start all year. The correlation with Justin Jefferson. I mean, really, this is a masterful draft, Noel fam. You should have been on the stream talking about how to do a draft and not me. Zay Jones, great flyer. Jatavion Sanders, get him in round 19. We love him here at Fanspeak. And then you finish it off with just a flyer on, what's that guy's name? Jamal Williams? I don't know. He was the one on Detroit before. He's a touchdown vulture. And with Kendre Miller continue to drop in the draft rankings, I could see why you were happy about him. So, I mean, Noel fan, give your draft like a 9 out of 10. I don't even know what you could have done better. I mean, looking pretty good. So, Jamu's not in this draft, and he says he's in a Roschon Johnson guy over Herbert. Yeah, it's a tough gamble to make. But hey, other than my little quarterback mistake, I feel like it was a pretty good draft for me. If I were to bet right now, though, I'd put a little money that Noel fan advances out of this pod too. So I'm going to have some tough competition here. But you did a great job. I can tell you've been hanging out and drafting with us all summer because first of all, I think that your lineup construction is more important than your player takes because player takes come and go. We've seen it already. You could have been absolutely right on your Tyrone Tracy player take, and he goes out, and it's just bad luck. But there's no such thing in luck when it comes to roster construction. Your roster construction, your correlation was excellent. I agree with most of your player takes. And, now we roll the dice. But what it really comes down to in this contest, especially on DraftKings, where we see some weird teams, 2-7-9-2, 2-5-11-2. None of these are that bad. People are probably thinking I'm the worst 4-5-8-3, right? But with these weird roster constructions, you really got to nail that roster construction and then just hope you get some luck and some skill with those player takes. So you did a great job today. I feel pretty good about my team as well, Noel fan, and I can't wait to see how this pod turns out. So reminder, the show is brought to you by fanspeak.com. I didn't mention it all today because this is a DraftKings show, but we are partnered with Best Ball Overlay, and they're going to show you that more tomorrow on the Sibling Showdown as they use the Best Ball Overlay to use their projections and their exposures. And it's not only individual exposures, you can do stack exposures as well, which I think is pretty cool because you can have 20% Amon-Ra, But if you don't have the Amon-Ra, Jared Goff stacks, or you're getting them separately, kind of helps you find some holes in your game, because we've talked about it. I just said it 2 minutes ago. Roster construction is key. Obviously, player takes are important. Player takes are fun. But if you didn't construct your roster right, you got no chance. You can construct your roster right and have great player takes and still not win. But it's really hard to win with a poorly constructed roster. Great job to you, Noel fan. Fanspeak.com, Best Ball overlay. They're going to show it tomorrow, but the promo code there is Fanspeak. If you're not already on Underdog, the promo code is Fanspeak, and Fanspeak.com is the place to be for the best projections and in-season articles. And hey, we got to give her a little bit of credit. If you are on CBS, Meg is getting published over there on CBS Sports, and I enjoyed her article yesterday on players that she is going to avoid that are falling here this draft season. So fanspeak.com is the place to be. I'll be back next Tuesday. We got Sibling Showdown tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel.